Hi, this is just a short video about the liver gallbladder cleanse. I was really interested in doing one. I thought the results looked amazing. I found different videos online on YouTube, and I did take an average of all the advice and undertake the cleanse, and I did get amazing results, so I would recommend people to do it. This, however, is the video that I wish I had also watched before I did it, maybe just to give you a bit more of an insight into what to really expect. I wouldn't want to put anybody off of doing it, but it's not the easiest of processes to go through. So basically, a very quick overview of what I did for my cleanse. So the bits I needed: apples, apple juice, loads of apple juice, Epsom salts, didn't need an enormous amount, virgin olive oil, again not an enormous amount, and then lemons or grapefruits. That's all I needed to do the cleanse, and if you look around online you'll find other videos with probably more detail. So I'll go through quickly how I did it, and then let me just tell you the few pieces of information that I think it's worth knowing before you undertake it. But please don't let it put you off of doing it, because the results were brilliant. So for 5 days before you do your actual liver flush, you need to drink at least a litre of apple juice every day. I found this very easy. The first few days I was easily drinking 2. I really enjoyed apple juice. I bought fairly decent, sort of not from concentrate apple juice. Towards day 4 and 5 I started to get a bit sick of apple juice, to be fair. I did get through the litre because I felt like I really wanted to commit to the process, and I was nervous that if I did anything wrong it might not work. So but yeah, I actually went on to day 6 because the way my working pattern fell, I wanted to make sure that I did the flush an evening/day where I wouldn't be working, and I would highly recommend this. So on day 6, I was advised to eat a light breakfast with no fat, no problem. I think I just had some porridge. It said that this would enable the bile in my liver to accumulate, putting pressure on it to eliminate more stones. So whatever that means, I found on day 6, or for me it was day 7, I had a light breakfast, nothing else. 2 p.m. that day, you mix up 4 tablespoons of Epsom salts in 750 millilitres of water. I put all of it into a bottle, gave it a good shake, and I was advised after 2 p.m. definitely don't consume anything, but I hadn't had anything since breakfast. Then put the whole bottle in the fridge to cool it right down. I don't know why that's so important, but I followed the instructions. So then at 6 p.m, I'm going to just run through the critical parts. 6 p.m, you get your Epsom salt water mixture. You drink a quarter of it. It will taste very bad. Oh, that was an understatement. It tastes disgusting. It's almost shocking. It's a strange, shocking sensation. And I have to be brutally honest with you. You're drinking this in 4 stages. It got worse and worse. You think you would get used to the taste, but it got worse. I mean, when I had the last quarter of the bottle to drink, I was just looking at it thinking, I don't think I can drink it. But I thought, no, I'm going to, I'm doing this process. I might never do it again. So I'm going to do it properly. But just be warned, the taste is dreadful and it does get worse. But I think you just need to commit to this being a medical thing. Hold your nose if you need to and just knock it back. So 8 p.m. was the second quarter of this mixture. Again, I can't tell you how bad it is, but just do it. And then it said, make sure you've got everything done that you need to do and prepare for your liver flush. This is very true, because actually the process of flushing is quite intense. So you can't do anything else. I mean, I've got children and a wife, but luckily, my wife was able to look after them and just let me be. But it is quite an intensive. You can't get up and answer the phone and move around too easily. So just bear that in mind. Okay, then 9:45. This is a little bit of a mix-up. Pour 125 millilitres of virgin olive oil into a jar. Then you squeeze your entire grapefruit, or if you went for lemons, kind of 3-4 lemons, into the olive oil. Mix it all up until you've got at least about 150 millilitres of grapefruit juice mixed with the 125 virgin olive oil. So you mix it really, really well. Then, assuming that you're hitting about 10 o'clock by the time you've done all of this, you knock the whole mixture back at once. And again, that is a very interesting experience, my word. You're drinking oil. It coats your mouth, it coats your throat, it goes down your stomach. You kind of, when you release gas like little burps, and it's oily. So, but compared to the Epsom salts, it wasn't as bad. But just be prepared; it is a bit of an interesting sensation. So the next stage was as soon as you drank your drink, lie down in your bed straight away, and it said to lay on your right side with your right knee up towards your chin for 20 minutes or so. I did do this. I don't know if it's important and critical, but I did follow that protocol. Okay, so then after that, big flush, the next morning when you wake up, as early as you can, it said at sort of 6 to 7 o'clock, drink your third lot of Epsom salts. Then you can always go back to sleep if you need to. 2 hours later, so for me this was kind of 9 o'clock in the morning, drink the last dose of Epsom salts. That's the one you really have to push yourself to drink, but just drink it. And then it says after about 2 more hours you're done, and you can eat anything, but best to start off gently. Maybe have some juice, or have maybe some fruit, or some light salad, and just chew it all up. But just do start gently and get your body back into the habit of, processing food after the flush. So that's the basic protocol. I followed it. Results were perfect, and afterwards I wasn't in a rush to do it again. But actually, I think because the results were so good, and I did feel so much better afterwards, I probably will do it again, but after a period of time where I've managed to forget just how bad it can feel. So here's some of the information that I want to share with you. It's a little bit personal, but I think it is important to know what you're walking into, because I didn't know this. I only knew everything that I just read out. That's all I knew. I knew that somewhere in between all of that there was some sort of flush. Let me tell you how it happened for me, and just a few bits of advice. So I was quite nervous for the whole process, because I just felt like it was a medical thing, or I don't know why, but actually it doesn't matter. You don't need to be nervous. The body sorts itself out. I had this sneaking suspicion for me it would go wrong and I would die, but actually it's not that bad. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to push these gallstones out of the gallbladder, assuming you've got some, push them into the main digestive tract, and then flushing those out. I suppose the first thing I'd say is what I did flush out was amazing, absolutely astounding. I don't want to be too gross, but this is a candid video. The quantity of what came out took my breath away. Just things that you did not think were in your body and did not look like they belonged in your body that came out. I mean, that's probably what made the process so bearable, because whenever some came out, I was amazed. And I can honestly say afterwards, I felt initially, I just felt lifted. I felt younger for some strange reason. I just felt like I was 5 or 10 years younger. I felt lighter. The not so good bits, Epsom salts, I think I've already made a point. They do taste bad, and it gets worse. The olive oil, completely gross, but it's not anything compared to the Epsom salts. So I had my first lot of Epsom salts. Now, what I didn't think about is the fact that the body drinks this salty mixture, and because of the concentrations, or for whatever reason, it assumes that it is digestible. It's not water, so instead of getting absorbed through one large intestine or something, it gets digested through the digestive tract. So I took my Epsom salts. I've had a grumbly belly, or whatever it was, maybe for half an hour, maybe for an hour, and then I felt like I needed to go to the toilet. So I went to the toilet, and it was a hair-raising experience. Everything came out. Like, if you've got the digestive tract at some stages with various bits of food, everything came out. In 60 seconds, I felt I was empty of everything possible. It was unpleasant. And I guess this was just the first stage. I then sat back down thinking, wow, that was unpleasant. Hopefully that won't happen again. About 15, 20 minutes later, that feeling came, and I was like, oh no. Rushed to the toilet, sat down again. I mean, you're passing like high concentration salt water at velocity. So it was an unpleasant experience. I reckon I had about 3 of these unpleasant experiences. And by the end of that, what was coming out, I'm sorry to be gross, but I think it's really valuable. But what was coming out was just salt water. Like I would look in the toilet and you couldn't see anything. And I thought to myself, my body is just completely cleaned out of everything. And unfortunately, it wasn't long after my last session that I had to go and have my second Epsom salt drink. So I went through again another couple of hours where I had about 3 or 4 visits to the loo that were exactly the same. And here's my top tip. Again, I know it's gross. However, the very last little part of the system of the digestion where it comes out of, I hate saying these words, the very last little bit really suffers with this high velocity salt water. If I could go back in time, as gross as this is, and it's not something I'm used to, I would find some sort of maybe Vaseline, something like that, and I would apply some before, because stinging is like a polite way of saying it, but once you've committed to the process, you can't stop it. And believe me, I just had to hang on in there. It never occurred to me till afterwards. I was like, I really should have put something in place, a barrier. But that is a very good caution. It's a very stinging process. So anyway, I had my second Epsom salts, went back again and again, felt amazingly cleared out. I really did feel quite refreshed, I guess. Drank the oil, went back to sleep, nervous, thinking I don't know what's going to happen now, but I'm in it. I just have to ride this thing out. Now I made a mistake. I cheated slightly. Woke up at about 2 a.m. I was really parched. I thought, I need a drink. I wasn't sure whether it was part of the protocol or not, but I thought I can have a little sip of water. I can have a little, not even a whole glass. I'll just in my mouth. So I can't remember exactly. I went downstairs, middle of the night, half asleep, poured some water into a glass, had a few sips, went back to bed. This water passed through my system quite quickly. I found myself with that same need to go to the toilet, rushed to the loo, again, high velocity. I don't know if this is just me, but felt different. It did feel slightly odd. So, 2:30 in the morning with my mobile phone, I dared to have a little flick the torch on, have a little peep in the toilet, and it was very strange. It was clear water. You've well and truly got rid of any nastiness, but in the water was an enormous amount, some floating, some not, of these small green stones. I say small, some of them were fairly sizable. I'm thinking kind of little fingernail size for most of them, but thumbnail size for a few, and there was a lot of them, like a small handful. It shocked me, but also kind of excited me that, well, that's all come out. So I was thinking, this really works. So anyway, went back to bed, woke up early, drank my next Epsom salt, which was really painful, just knocking it back. Then I had my rushes to the toilet, as before, but with every rush to the toilet was more of these stones, an enormous amount. I think in total, it probably like a handful scoop of gravel. I was just thinking, I can't believe that much was inside me. It was absolutely gross. After the third or fourth visit to the loo, after that third, the early morning Epsom salts, I think I started to not see any more of those things come out. And that's why I was sitting there at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock with the last Epsom salt solution. I just almost didn't bother, but because I thought, I'm never doing this again in my life, I just drank it. And by now my body was physically tired. It's like if you spend the night vomiting or something, then you're physically worn out. So anyway, I drank it, and I think maybe the first loo, there was a few more of these, and then it was all gone. So I kind of realised that, like, the first 2 Epsom salts flush your whole digestive system. Anything that was digesting is out. Any bits and pieces hanging around is out. I did feel thoroughly cleaned. Then you drink this solution that forces gallstones, this is the best of my knowledge, forces gallstones out into the digestive system, and then the next 2 flushes just flush them out like you wouldn't believe. So anyway, now there's something I haven't said about this. Now, I mustn't even hint at who it was, but someone very close to me in my life decided to go on this journey with me. And if you knew, it's hilarious, really. But anyway, now they had a different experience to me. So they drank the Epsom salts, rumbly tummy. Second, I don't know, later 8 o'clock, Epsom salts, whatever it was, rumbly tummy. 10 o'clock at night, they drank their olive oil, all very odd. Woke up in the morning and rushed to the toilet, and everything came out in one long go. So their first experience was 6 o'clock in the morning, an absolute shocker. Whereas for me, it started way back, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whenever, about an hour after my first lot. I guess that my system was processing things quicker, but equally the same sort of things and probably amount came out of the other person, and equally they felt really quite rejuvenated by it. So I have heard, because obviously the olive oil is the mixture that flushes it out into the digestive system, and then you flush out everything that's in there. So I've heard that you should repeat the whole process again to see if there's anything more that needs to be flushed out. I'm still only just over the shock, and I'm going to hold off. I've got another video where I've talked about a whole load of health protocols that I'm going through. I've come across a series of about 10 or 15 different cleanses that I'm going to try and run through. Midlife crisis, sort my body out from years of abusing it, basically. So I'm going to do some of the other slightly more gentle ones and then maybe come back to that. But anyway, to wrap up the video, I just wanted to say you can find all the videos online by all sorts of experts who will give you a good idea of how to do it. They just left out a few of the critical points. Vaseline, well recommended. Alright, thanks a lot.